Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Highway to the Threemus Zone. My name is Pixel Tamer, and I am joined in the booth by Smakedy. How you doing tonight?
Oh, I am beyond myself with excitement tonight, Pixel Tamer. I don't think it would be too much overstatement to say that this might be the most exciting race of the tournament, if not Free Enterprise as a whole. We have got two of the absolute legends of the game here today in a deciding match. Both of them have taken one game so far. This is going to decide our first finalist in the Threemus Zone. Pixel, why don't you walk us through exactly how we got here the last match?
Sure. So, we've got Speed Demon Dia on one side and the Analytical Archon FF4FE on the other, and we found ourselves with dueling Eddy straps on Tuesday night. Both of our runners found a fairly quick go mode, and both of them ran straight down into the lunar subterrane and did bard things to beat Threemus. Dia had 4 characters, Fleury had 5. Doesn't really matter when you're going for Eddy straps, he's the only one alive anyway, but he had a whole lot of Spoony Bard silliness going on.
Yeah, and when all was said and done, it was a mere 4 minutes and change that separated both of these runners. I would be very hesitant to bet against being a similarly close race here this evening. Starting with Palom here, who is going to be a very strong character in the endgame, but this is going to kind of eliminate your ability to sort of slingshot him, which has been something of a very popular strategy with these kind of mage teams we've seen against Threemus.
Yes, but he does also come online fairly quickly with Virus at level 19 and Quake at level 23, as well as very quick access to tier 2s. So he can do his job in the underworld, in the overworld, without too much work.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. Getting that first little infusion of experience on Palom is crucial to having a strong offense going into the early overworld checks. It'll be interesting to see what other characters that we see paired alongside of him. I think probably a strong melee fighter, maybe healer of some sort, would be what our runners would be looking for here. But definitely they're going to be happy to see at least a strong bit of offense as their core.
Right. As we clear out the silly objectives, we've got our, as always, forge the Legend Sword of the Adamant to make an Excalibur. We've also got the Vanilla Murasame altar. We need to perform some arson in the Village of Mist, and then we need to go up and power up Tellas and Cecils.
Indeed, I'm always a fan when we see these lunar objectives in the mix here. That a lot of times the Darkness Crystal is mostly seen as just sort of a gateway to a grind. It makes the Darkness Crystal all the more valuable here. Now that there might be some fights on the moon, you might be able to sneak in because they're on the freer side with certain Jaya items and abilities. It just kind of makes the routing a lot more interesting when you know you've got that potentially difficult boss fight up there that is a completed objective in and of itself.
Yeah, and helping us out behind the scenes, we've got launching livestock at various buttons. We've got Sheep Launcher doing the tracking, and we've got Zoe Vermillion making all the pretty pictures flow nicely for us on the restream.
Yeah, huge shout out to our restream team letting this all happen. And it looks like we are underway here. So we're going to get our quick look at our first key item, our first character. Ooh, you were talking about the dueling eddies.
And we've got another free character check already, although we've got plenty of free character checks anyway, since we've got free characters turned on in these flags.
Yeah, that Sand Ruby is going to largely just represent a key item towards that 10 key item benchmark where you get the experience bonus. We're not exactly going to be hurting for characters here, but another character in the pool, definitely not a bad thing for these runners. They're going to have just a little bit more ability to sort of pick and choose what kind of a party they want.
That's right, and our runners do have to be selective since we do have that permajoin flag turned on. But thankfully we turned off the buy flag, so if you say no to somebody, you can go pick them up later over in Dissidia. So you don't have to make all of your final decisions immediately.
Yeah, this has been our first major competition where we've used this kind of rule set here with this permajoin, and it's been really interesting seeing these top-level runners adjust to it. We've seen a lot of really careful decision-making as far as party building, and a lot of mage-heavy builds as a result. Oh, speaking of mages, there's Tella in the Watery Pass. Definitely a build you want to see early.
Yeah, Zoe, did you actually have Dathis for the seed? Because that's a lot of vanilla already. By which I mean 1 vanilla.
Hey, one is already too much, right?
But that Runex is a nice find, should we find any of our heavy armor users.
Yeah, absolutely. Really decent bit of kit. Little on the inaccurate side, but it makes up for it with that 4x effective damage against mage-type enemies. So it can be a really, really useful item, and sells for a good bit, too, if they need some seed cash.
Yeah, and it is the most powerful melee weapon it is able to equip.
That is correct. And we're going to see a quick waterfall check here on Fleury's side. Or,
Yeah.
excuse me, back of the watery pass, excuse me.
Yes, I like the exit out and then check the back play. It's what I was doing before I got eliminated. I feel like it gives you the most treasure density with the least time spent.
Yeah, it's really solid, solid routing strategy there, just making sure you're making the most efficient use of your time there. Not anything fantastic back there. Windspear will be okay if Kane shows up. Black Sword really not going to see much use, but it does sell for a decent amount.
We've got Best Girl over in the Sand Ruby spot.
Yeah, that is going to be an easy recruitment here. Maybe not recruiting her right off of the bat, but definitely down the line. That is the white mage you're looking for to bring into the end game. Just cannot say enough good stuff about Rosa, from her excellent white magic to her good survivability, enough hit points to reliably survive big bangs. Just really great character overall.
Yeah, Sheep Launcher, our tracker, pointing out there was an Elven Bow in Damsian. That makes our Rosa even nicer. It's one of the strongest bows, and it'll definitely carry you through the early game. You've got Thor Rages and Star Veils and Kamikazes in the Kaipo shop. That's loaded.
Wow, yeah, that is almost everything you want to see in one spot in Kaipo. I know sometimes it's not exactly the easiest thing to get over to Kaipo to check it, so it might be one of the shops you fade, but not one you want to fade today.
And we've got a third vanilla spot with Edward at Damsian.
Goodness gracious.
But
so
yeah.
that's 2 bards so far. Edward, one of the characters that you really don't benefit much from having more than one of. He has a lot of really niche uses, but none of them really require more than one of them.
That's right. He's less useful if you're not doing crazy Eddie strats in these flags, because we've turned off the spoon flag, so that means if you do find that silverware, you can only use it for throwing with edge or selling for a nice 5,000 gold.
Yeah, there are a couple of bosses that Edward is nice against. That hide ability can really get you out of a bad position, but again, those are mostly niche strats. And goodness gracious, second Tella, third Edward, what is going on?
Yeah, we are very close to Edward percent. Apart from the whole permajoin thing, and we can't get rid of that Palom for a 5th bard, potentially.
Yeah, that is correct. Tella, another one of those characters that, much like Edward, where his usefulness lies in the depth of his spell list, and not necessarily his power as a character, so really not much of a reason to take more than one. So finding one past that one in the watery pass really going to be benefiting our runners here too much.
Yeah, and I think both of our runners have taken Tella at this point, right? Did Dia take him?
I didn't see specifically, but I've got to imagine there is something to be said about sort of stockpiling your characters and then choosing your party once you've seen everything. But there are very few reasons not to take a Tella as soon as you see him in these flag sets.
Particularly because Ordeals is effectively required.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, just a quick glance at the save screen there shows Tella is in fact in Dia's party. And Dia making a quick trip up Ordeals. This might just be a character check. I can't imagine going any further quite yet.
Holy crap, it's third Tella.
That's a vanilla Tella. We have had both vanilla Tellas so far.
Yes, that is.
Zoe,
that is,
what have you rolled?
That is 4 vanillas. I am promoting Zoe to Dappus.
And Dia about to check the Elder in Visidia and get the news that, surprise, it's Eddie and Tella.
Oh jeez, this is too much.
I don't think I could be any happier about this start here.
Yeah, this is pretty incredible, but it looks like we are picking up that Rosa on Dia's side. Makes sense. She's incredibly powerful in the late game, and she's put a bow in her hand in the early game, and she can still contribute.
Yeah, like you had mentioned with that Elven Bow, I think picking up Rosa early here rather than waiting and maybe slingshotting her later is a perfectly great strategy. She's going to represent the bulk of the offense here early on, especially if we can get her hands on something like a Heroine Robe. That really puts Archer Rosa online.
I mean, the reason we nicknamed that build the Warrior Princess.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. It's a really fantastic piece of kit. It's drops all of your casting stats, but increases all of your physical stats. So it's a really great way to sort of respec your ordinarily caster female characters into really strong fighters. One of the more interesting pieces of gear in the game.
Especially this early in the game, when your stats are so low, you're effectively doubling your physical stats in the process.
Yeah, you can get a incredibly tanky character by throwing a Heroine Robe on them this early.
Yeah, both of our owners now have noped out of the Ordeals Tella. Sheet Puncher pointing out that we did see Silk Whips for sale in Mysidia, so we'll have those if we decide to do more traditional Zeroma strats.
Yeah, one of the more powerful J items, that double application of slow can be very useful in a lot of fights. Specifically the Zeroma's fight, though. Being able to put 2 applications of slow on him triggered that early nuke to nerf his offense going into the first big bang, which is a really fantastic item you're going to want going in there. And finally, a character that isn't a Bard or a Sage, it's Kayn.
And Kayn is guarded by a dragon. How appropriate.
Yeah, this is actually going to be really nice. We've got that Rune Axe, and I believe... Yeah, going to equip it right there, do some jumping, and this fight should be over pretty quickly.
Yeah, and I think I saw a diamond armor somewhere along the line, so Kayn will also have some half-decent defenses.
And meanwhile, Fleury has gone deep into the Antlion Cave. We're going to see a check on the boss there relatively soon.
Oh, we've got Demist in Antline, extra value.
That is very, very nice. You're going to get the key item check from defeating the boss. You're going to get the key item check from Mrs. Rydia as well. So yeah, really good fun there for Fleury.
And Dia has defeated the Pale Dim, recruits her Kayn for good, and we'll see if she goes and loots the rest of Mount Hobbs or if she just goes out. She's at least going to get the first chest. And not going to go all the way to the back for the other 4.
Yeah, with the Sparson, I can absolutely see making this play here. It's very tempting to when you've got Tell because you can just exit out. But Dia realizing, there's not going to be really too much I can find here that's going to give me an edge. Let's just check this chest, bail out, and he's going to go into Antline and find this bonus round as well.
Yeah, especially because there's no non-key item that can give you the literally edge.
Precisely. Very nice.
Fleury has defeated the Demist, playing the role of Antline, gets Ice 2 on his Palom, makes him usable for the beginning of the game, is rewarded with a Legend Sword.
Very, very nice. That's half of an objective right there. Probably the big reward is getting enough experience to get to the Tier 2 elemental spells on Palom, which is going to really kind of slingshot your offense for it a little bit. We're going to see this is going to be a much faster fight here from Dia, not only because we came with the Rune Axe, but being able to toss out Nice 2 with Palom should make this quick as well.
Oh, that's true, because we've done the Mount Hobbs fight, and that would give enough experience to Palom to get him his Tier 2s.
Yeah, once you get about 1 boss fight in on Palom, he becomes substantially more useful. Yeah, big damage there. That's about half of that spot's health in 1 blow.
We get a Charm Rod from Rosa's mom. That'll give that Palom some more ammunition to get going.
Yeah, I don't hate that one bit. I mean, it's not progression, but we've got... this Palom, which is going to be a cornerstone of our offense in this team. That is a substantial amount of wisdom right there. That's going to make his spells punch all the harder. So yeah, not a terrible thing to find.
Yeah, it's not a Stardust Rod. It's still pretty good. And we see Fleury replacing that Mute Knife, which also increases wisdom, with the Dedicated Rod, which frees it up for potential use from the Kayn that he might pick up now.
Yeah, exactly. That Mute Knife is going to be really good to hold on to for Kayn if we run into any of those bosses that have that mage. Well, I say that, but as I say that, remember he's got that Rune Axe, which is probably going to hit substantially harder against the mage types.
True, but if we don't have Kayn in the middle, there's that accuracy problem we mentioned earlier, which the Mute Knife does not struggle with as much.
Very, very true.
like many things in this game, trade-offs.
Absolutely, yeah. It's once you really understand the way equipment works and how accuracy factors into things, you start to realize how nuanced a lot of the gear is. There is, like you said, very much trade-offs between things, and it makes how you set your characters up equipment-wise a really, really interesting choice.
Yeah, and something I hadn't noticed on Dia's first run-up mount ordeals is that there's a Gungnir in one of those first chests, so just a nice, powerful lance for that Kain also.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit more accurate than that Rune Axe. I believe it's about comparable, I think maybe a little bit less on the attack value than the Rune Axe, but that accuracy might be helpful in certain points where you want to be hitting.
Yeah, I believe that is the third most powerful spear.
Sounds right.
I think he starts with it when you recover him from the Giant of Babel, and then you get the Dragoon Spear, and then you get the White Spear.
Correct, yeah, that sounds right. Sorry, Odin, your lance is only the third best in the game. Question chat, Gungnir versus Rune Axe for Kain. It's going to be very situational. In general, I would probably keep the Gungnir on Kain and use the Rune Axe in specific situations where it's going to, you're going to be able to take advantage of its effectiveness. I don't know, what would be your call on that, Pixel?
I think you said it right. It's very situational. And I was also just distracted by the fact that we've got yet more vanilla going on here. I'm pretty sure that Dathos has some sort of mind control on Zoe at this point. Because nobody but Dathos can roll this much vanilla.
Yeah, I got a feeling that Zoe's rolling hand was injured and she had to call an audible on who actually rolled this. But you know, we'll look the other way this time.
But yeah, like you said, Gungnir has advantage against flying enemies because of the spear. We've got the Vanilla Fable Gauntlet. We're crying out loud, Zoe.
Interesting. Wow.
That does mean that the blue robe we saw in Baron Castle is the Water Hag, guarding who handed out that Sand Ruby, and was also giving us an Edward, which is kind of thematic.
What's interesting about this is that even though it's the Vanilla Fable Gauntlet, it's not the Vanilla Fable Gauntlet. Because we've got that alt gauntlet flag on, and even though this is the normal place where you fight the Fable Gauntlet, it's not pulling from the encounters that would actually be there. It's instead pulling from the encounters around Fable. So this is actually not what you would normally fight if you were doing this the storyline fight, which is actually really interesting. I don't think I've ever seen the alt gauntlet in this spot before.
I might have seen it once, but yeah, it's a very good point. For those wondering, if you encountered the alt gauntlet in Baron Inn or the first two spots in Baron Castle, I believe it pulls from the Waterway, and I think if you get it at the Odin spot, it pulls from the Feymarch random encounters.
I believe you're correct, yeah.
But Dia threw that Mylon.
Yeah, I really like this divergence here. Just Dia going up immediately once she feels comfortable enough, is just going up there. I want to get my talent online. I want to just be able to punch through and get those spells, while Fleury is a little more willing to cast a wider net and go check out some of these other spots first. So it'll be interesting to see, if anything is uncovered here. Oh, that's not vanilla.
That is definitely not vanilla. That's a big fat nope.
This is a rough spot for Ogopogo because right off the bat, you're going to be taking half your HP and damage. Dia did not do any kind of healing in between here.
I think I saw a couple Cure 2s thrown out, but that's not enough.
Kain is up in the air. Here's Rosa going to be throwing out some healing here. Doing some very good healing numbers. I believe she's getting a will bonus from that Elven Bow. So her heals are going to be have a little bit of punch to them.
Palom is going to be tricky to use in this fight. If you attack the Ogopogo with magic, it will counter with Blaze, which is another HP % attack. Although if you attack Ogopogo with lightning, he'll cast Weak as a counter attack instead. So, depending on your hit point totals, you could potentially stave off some damage by using Weak instead, especially if you've got a Cure queued up to bring everybody out of big wave range.
Yeah, that's a very, very good idea there. I like what Dia is doing, just constantly bluffing here with Palom and then getting to the point where you can do a final blow with him. Was it calculated? Not quite, but he's got to be near the end of his rope.
I would get the Baron key for defeating that alt gauntlet.
Great timing there. Kane is up in the air, avoiding that big wave. It's going to hit hard, but this attack from Kane might be the last bit that we need here. Not quite. Didn't hit quite as hard as I was hoping it would. One more maybe spell from Callum. Oh, this is getting close.
I think this will get there because this spot only has 3,000 or 4,000 health. Yep, he's shaken.
Okay, good play there by Dia. That is not an easy fight to get through.
And yeah, that is the textbook way to make Palom useful in an Ogopogo fight is bluff like crazy and then try to deal as much damage and just use spellcast as possible.
Yeah, there are a few abilities that are really useful in these sort of counter-heavy fights. Yang's power-up attack is another one of those where you can get more damage out with fewer individual attacks and sort of limit the incoming damage. Bluff is really, really good at that because the only cap is Palom's Wisdom cap, so...
Yeah, and then also the power command is also great when an enemy counters the fight command specifically because it's technically not the fight command.
Yeah, very, very good point.
And we've got a hook.
Ooh. There's still a lot of the overworld left to see here, especially with that Baron key in play. So we're not 100% convinced that that's the only way into the underworld, but that is making things look a little spicy here.
Yeah, we've got a Sarah, we've got a Rune Axe. I bet this will go down in one hit.
Especially with the jump command, I'm inclined to agree.
Question from Chad about the pause. Oh no. Question from Chad about the pause saving time. I think that is primarily an aesthetic preference from DA regarding sound effects.
Yeah, I know a few runners do it. It cancels that really annoying noise that goes through. I'm not sure that it really saves anything time-wise, but it is really good for your sanity.
Right, so we have access to Paladin Cecil, we have access to a fully powered Tella.
And if we can find Soma Drop, you can use that Meteo spell.
Yeah, the Swag Meteo is a popular thing among the community. But more importantly, that Soma Drop would allow you to cast 4 weak spells before having to refill, which just makes that depending on the machine grind so much smoother.
Yeah, having 100 MP on your Tella as opposed to 90 doesn't seem like a significant amount, but it really is just a much more convenient total for him to have.
Especially if you're relying on Ether 2s as your primary method of restoring MP, since those almost always restore 128 MP, and so you're wasting less MP by refilling him from 0 instead of refilling him from 15.
Yeah, always want to be efficient.
Fewer turns spent restoring MP is more turns spent going fast.
Precisely. Oh, my body pylon, and Fleury is through.
I'm looking forward to seeing how he handles Ogopogo. I think he'll probably have a slightly easier time than Dia because all the XP from Gauntlet will power up his characters just that little bit.
He is also going back and taking a safety save, which I don't think Dia took. I think Dio just went right into the fight.
I believe you are correct.
His team's going to stay up on its feet, getting a full heal out, so he'll have the whole team to manage here. Let's see what sort of strategy he's going for. Just going to immediately jump with that cane. Rose is going to start healing up, and we'll see if it goes for a bluff strat on Callum. Yeah, looks like he's doing the same thing.
Yep, it is the sensible thing to do. And these are both some very skilled runners.
Oh, absolutely. Skilled might be underplaying it a little bit. These are two of the most phenomenal players we have in the entirety of the community. So,
I mean, that's right. We are in the top 4 after all? Yeah, top 4.
Yes, this is the semifinals. We're going to have our first finalist here tonight, which is very exciting.
Yeah, this is vanilla-ish Gauntlet, since it's the spot that we don't have the exact same encounter.
I do like caramel dipped Gauntlet. That's a good way to put it.
I do like that one. It's
a little extra flavor to it.
It's a nice change from French vanilla Gauntlet.
Yeah.
Black Forest Gauntlet. That would also work, and sounds yummy.
I'm not very good dessert after this one. And down goes Ogopogo. Fleury is through. He's going to have his powered up Tella and his hook as well.
say is ahead right now. It's very close. But I think Fleury might get through Asura faster than Dia gets through the Gauntlet.
Yeah, it's as far as I'm concerned, this is effectively tied right now. I think Fleury maybe has the tiniest of edges, but it is minuscule at best. I've got to imagine they're both going to be heading to Baron after this, especially
that
since
would
we
make the
saw
most sense.
right, yeah, especially since we saw a blue robe in the Vigan spot. We already have bought the all Gauntlet here, so we know that blue robe is Water Hag, so that is going to be half of a free Baron right there.
Yep. There still is that long walk through the watery, the Barren Waterway, in words, and then the cutscene afterwards. But as you said, it's half free, so unless you get something crazy like a Golbez or a Wyvern on the throne, it's probably fine.
Yeah, which is not outside the realm of possibility. But at least one of the nastiest fights, Ogopogo, is out of the way.
Yes.
And in stark defiance of everything I just said, Dia is actually out first, and we'll probably be heading over to Baron just a little bit ahead of Fleury here.
Yeah. I also thought Fleury was slightly ahead, but I also didn't consider the time it takes to walk out of Mount Ordeals.
Yeah, these little cutscenes can really add up. So it really, when someone is able to route something to avoid things like this, or routing with these considerations in mind, can really like spell the difference between an experienced and elite player.
Neither of our runners have gone into the town of Baron yet, so we still don't know what's in that shop. We don't know what's in the inn. I don't think we've found life potions yet.
I don't believe so. But now that we have that Baron key, that is going to open up that Baron armory to shop in there. So that could have some very interesting things in there. I believe it is a little bit of a higher tier than the other weapon shops in this flag set.
Yes, it is a gated shop, and we're on S Pro, so that means it can have access to items of up to tier 4, whereas the open shops are up to tier 3. We find tents in the Baron item shop.
Yeah, I'll take them, especially in later releases of Free Enterprise. Cabins have been a little, seemingly have been a little bit harder to come by. So tents, not as convenient as cabins, but definitely useful.
Yeah, and people have been really starting to like tents because they don't revive your anchor character if you've got them face down.
Yeah, it's a very important distinction between tents and cabins. Cabins are a full restore on your entire party that includes death. Tents, 1000 HP, 100 MP, and it will restore nobody. So yeah, if you want to keep somebody dead, tents are very useful for that.
Yeah, we've got a Valvalis here at the first spot of Baron Inn, guarding this second Palom. Not going to be too bad. Aim can get through the Whirlwind form just fine. Kane can use Jump.
And a question from Anonymous in chat. Exiting from Mount Ordeals is going out of style. Yeah, as a couple of people in chat mentioned, you can't actually use the exit spell on Mount Ordeals. There are a couple of places where exiting is locked off. Mostly it's because there is a cutscene associated with leaving the dungeon, and the game doesn't want you to be able to skip that cutscene. Mount Ordeals is specifically locked off from exit because you just powered up Cecil, and the game wants you to experience essentially his power as a paladin, since everything is undead on Mount Ordeals, and his legend sword has the holy element. It's kind of sort of this way of the game of integrating you of how Cecil has grown stronger because of his last change. It's a really nice narrative meeting the gameplay.
Yeah, it's a very nice piece of storytelling, especially considering that on your way up Ordeals, he's almost helpless, considering his dark sword is resisted heavily by all of the undead on the mountain.
Yeah, exactly. It's that great way to just signify that your darkness is not going to help you.
Yes, and Dia is through Dr. Luggage slightly faster than Fleury. I think I mentioned this nice piece of equipment earlier, but that's a Stardust Rod.
Yeah, that is really, really nice. The secondary effect on it is great. It's going to be a fantastic AoE damage until Palom is able to get that Quake spell for himself. But even past that, that is 15 Wisdom. That is a huge amount of extra damage you can be getting from that.
Yeah, like you said, it casts the Stardust spell when used as an item. It'll deal about 1,000 damage to all enemies, and that's nothing to sneeze at, especially if you don't have access to your higher level spells yet. And then once you do have your higher level spells, boom, you've got plus 15 to Black Magic.
Yeah, precisely. So that's even though it's not progression, neither of our runners are going to hate seeing that.
Yes, and as chat points out, we do now have access to Twin Magic. All we care about for twin spells is, do you have two twins? It doesn't matter if you have two of the same twin or two of the different twin, as long as you have two twins.
Yeah, a little bit of redundant at this point since we've got that Stardust Rod. You basically have free access to the best twin spell whenever you want it anyway. But yeah, it is very useful to note that all you need are 2 twins, doesn't matter which twins they are, and you get access to that twin cast, which can be really useful early on in the seed when you're kind of struggling with damage.
Yeah, and Dia's giving that Stardust Rod to the leveled up Palin. Probably wanted to make those viruses stronger and just try to one-punch things. And we've got Cursed Rings for sale in Baron.
Ooh, big find there. That is a fantastic item. Just lets you manipulate agility to your heart's content. Very useful at getting past some roadblocks where you just really need characters to act in a certain order or just act a little faster. And of course, it lets you set your agility exactly where you need it for Zeromus. Just a really liberating item there.
Yep, and here comes our expected Water Hag. Did you see anything good in the weapon shop? I was too busy distracted by Water Hag, of all things.
I didn't. I was the same, but yeah, I did not see anything in there specifically.
We've got 2 Paladins, we've got a Stardust Rod, our main source of damage. Chat says Elven Foes and Ogre Axes.
Yeah, Ogre Axe is a really nice find. It's very expensive though, so it's a bit of a commitment, but that would be a very good axe to put in Galen's hands if you wanted to.
Yes, it would make the Mac Giant grind very viable, but we have Tella, so why wouldn't we just do D-Machine?
Exactly. Don't make things harder for yourself than they need to be.
Dia has absolutely no trouble with Water Hag. Water Hag is a joke in most spots, except some of the high physical attack, high speed spots like Leviathan. A low-level party has a hard time dealing with Water Hag at Leviathan spot, but we've got Mylan Z as the true King of Baron today. Or impersonating the King of Baron.
Yeah, wrong elemental theme, but elemental themed, but we'll take it. Palin doesn't quite have that Quake spell yet, but appropriately enough, this is one of the fights that Quake spell would not be used.
Yes, but as it turns out, as a consequence of the way they implemented his immunity to the Quake spell, they made him vulnerable to bows and spears.
Yet, believe it or not, the Fiend of Earth is classified as flying type.
Because Earth is not an element in this game, so the way you are immune to Quake is if you have the flying type, which makes you weak to spears and bows.
Yeah, it was a similar thing happens for bosses that have a holy or a darkness weakness. If they're weak to one, they're strong against the other, and it's just sort of the dual way in which that element is implemented into the game.
All right, if this is Sid. Hey, it's a ninja. We don't see very much of him lately.
Okay, I have been using the metaphor, the edge, for a while, and Chad has called me out every time I've done it. But now we actually have the edge. Dia has the edge in this match.
And Fleury will have the edge as well soon, but neither of them will recruit the edge because they've already got a full party.
That is very true. Edge is a really useful character. They're both probably pretty satisfied with their party, so not a ton lost, but the earlier you can get Edge, the better. He comes at such a high level, outputs such a large amount of damage, and can hit AoE with his ninjutsu early on. So,
yeah.
Really good early character, but we will not be seeing him today.
Yeah, there's a reason he is restricted most of the time behind the C standard flag, saying he has to be found in a gated location. Pigtail, Dia's favorite. She named her group after it, after all.
And with her color scheme, very appropriate.
Yes, and she has a hook, so she could go grab a powerful item if she wanted.
Yeah, that's going to be one of those things that will be interesting to see if our runners decide to route in at any time. If you were playing under normal circumstances, you would be beelining to Adamant Grotto to get what you would normally get, the Adamant Armor, one of the most broken pieces of gear in Final Fantasy history. But that has been turned off for competition flags. Instead, you just get a random high-tier item. Right now, I can't think of a ton that would be, a phenomenal grab for this team. Maybe a high-tier spear for Kane would be maybe the biggest thing. But there are some nice things that you can get up for grabs there that can really help you out.
Yeah, I expect that Oh, Dia's proved me wrong. She is going for it. I was going to say I wouldn't expect anyone to do it until they have the rat tail as well, but Dia is in the tournament at this point, and I am not. I'm
Yeah,
hurt.
exactly. we can speculate all we want.
Oh, that's a massa.
Oh, goodness gracious. Well, that's a lot of money.
We have a thing for you. We have your best sword.
It's not an enormous time out to make that check, but yeah, that's just going to be a whole lot of money here.
It is. Breaks your heart though, because Edge requires so much gear to be effective, and here, have his best weapon.
Yeah, he's just sitting there in the Tower of Wishes, arms folded, shaking his head. I told you all. Didn't believe me.
Let's see what Dia does with her newfound riches, I suppose. Oh, there's a Soma drop in, wow.
Yep, grabbing one immediately, don't blame her one bit. Like we said, 100 MP on Kella is so much better than that.
Aegis shields in the armor shop, that's nice.
Yeah, really good shield for Kayn for when he's wielding one-handed weapons. Has a ton of magic resist on it, which is excellent for the Zeronis fight. Every bit of damage in the final fight in this game is magic, so you can make your character much tankier in that fight than your shield.
Yeah, like the White Robe or the Sorcerer's Shirt is very good for your Cecil, for example, if you don't have anything super good for him because high magic defense. Yep.
Yeah, very, very one of those micro optimizations that can help your play is load your characters up on magic defense. If you've got really good physical defense armor, it's not going to really help you any, so you might as well trade it out for something with just slightly better magic defense and hopefully get a better roll on a big bang. But Fleury has gone for the Odin spot here and has come across the D-Lunars.
Yep, and meanwhile, in Eblan Cave, we've got our third Rosa, I think. But more importantly, the boss of the second spot is one of the guards encounters, so that's going to be easy.
Yes, that's one of the fights that is usually considered free. It does not have the boss bit, so status effects can hit it unlike they would work on normal bosses. That being said, it also just has they generally have low attack power. Their moves aren't necessarily frightening. The worst thing you could run into is if it's the Baron Guards. They have some nasty counterattack spells if you don't have any way to neutralize it, but I believe Dia's got access to the mute spell at this point, so that would kind of render them invalid.
She's also got anti-mage weapon, and I think the jump command does not trigger the counter.
Yes, good point. Yeah, so plenty of ways to neutralize that.
Yeah, back row your Kayn, just have him keep jumping, and you'll probably get through.
And it looks like Fleury is going to be trying to stall this fight out until the Lunars cast their breath spell. He's got Star Veil set up on his characters to reflect that breath. Perfect timing there, gets it.
That's
only one frog.
There's the other. This fight is now free.
Yes, this is a fantastic strategy that kind of came out of the woodwork in Free Enterprise, is the ability to reflect that breath spell. Neutralizes this fight. If you can get both of them turned into frogs, then this fight is just a matter of dealing the appropriate damage.
Yeah, and I think this strat first appeared during Zima Stone 2?
I want to say you're correct.
And first boss here is a Moon Sparkle. It could be rude. That's not so rude.
Not too rude, yeah. I believe that only leaves Wyvern. I think we've seen every other Lunar Sparkle. Correct me if I'm wrong there, though.
Let's see. We have encountered Pale Dim. We have not encountered Wyvern. We have seen Plague. We have seen D-Lunars. We have seen... Oh, yeah, the last Sparkle is Wyvern.
Yeah, so won't be much of a surprise when the fight actually starts, but the big surprise will come when we see that last Sparkle, especially if it shows up in some rude places.
Yeah, any of the fast spots. Elements Wyvern would be awful.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
But thankfully, they won't need to do Elements Wyvern, because Giant is not an objective and we've already found our demist.
Some nice timings on these count resets here by Dia to get that stagger in so that they counts get reset at different times so you can get characters up.
That's right, Plague does not attack your party directly. He'll just cast party-wide Doom, and then he'll cast Haste on you, and then if he notices that somebody does not have the Doom status, he will recast Doom and reset everybody's timer. So a common strategy is to keep KOing and reviving a party member so he keeps resetting your Doom. Chat asking about the math of Magma versus Hook. I think in practical experience, it's about 75% weighted to Hook if you're using some of these more advanced flag sets. I believe I saw that on the wiki somewhere. Playing on some of the easier flag sets, there is a forced option to make it about 50-50. It's the Baron Guard, so that Mute Knife will be very useful, but Rose is also attempting to deploy a Mute spell, not being successful.
Yeah, a lot of ways they can neutralize this fight. The problem is going to be actually getting those neutralizations out as they hit hard and they're hitting fast.
Yeah, and I don't think she's saved.
Oh, and for all of his efforts against the D-Lunars there, Fleury just gets a Lunar Staff. A good piece of kit for Rosa. Very useful for her in casting white magic, but definitely not what we wanted to see here. Wanted something a little more substantial progression-wise.
He is running it out, but to add insult to injury, there's a silent staff in her chest on the way out.
Oh, goodness gracious. So, yeah, big bust there for Fleury, unfortunately.
I guess the true reward was the experience points we made along the way.
Yeah, not a huge amount of experience from the Odin spot, but enough that it's worth holding on to.
Yeah, and Dia has managed to frog our guards, so I think she's got this in the bag.
Yeah, it was down to the wire there, but Palom comes through, gets the spell off, and now this is just Academic mopping this up. They don't have to worry about the counters, because frogs can't cast anything with frog. They also have essentially the effects of the mini spell, where they have massively reduced attack and physical defense. So.
And I believe they still count as mage type in frog form, so you see Kane dishing out massive damage here.
Yeah, that would make sense, because that is a lot of damage we're seeing from our Tingling friend.
Yes, chat pointing out that Mute Daggers wreck Baron Guards. Yes, Mute Daggers are Mage Slayers, the Baron Guards are mages. So have your 4 times damage multiplier, please, Kay, thanks.
Yeah, there's some interesting enemies in here that have the mage type that you might not expect to. One of the most infamous one is the Mad Ogres that is usually fought as an optional fight, both in Evelyn Castle and in Upper Babel. They have both the giant and the mage type, so there is a lot of equipment there that can wreck.
Yes, and it's a very popular early grind fight if you need to get some levels early on. It looks like we see some life glitching going on, getting extra experience from this now free boss fight.
Yeah, you might as well. It's not a bad idea whatsoever. Since you can't actually use the life on this fight, you might as well take advantage of it. It's a goodly amount of experience here, and yeah, as you can see, 12 levels being gained there by one.
And we've got double Quake.
That's big. That is going to be a lot of damage. AoE coverage as well. Dia is going to have to feel very confident going into this underground here.
Yeah. She can do most of whatever she wants at this point. It's depending on what we run into. Some of the Summit Fey March bosses might be doable, but we've got either Rubicant or Elements at the Dr. Luggage spot.
Yeah, very quick check there by Dia, but always one you're going to want to make sure to do. If you're going the hook route, take that one step to the right there. You get a quick glance of what boss is awaiting you on top of Lower Babel there. We have not seen Elements yet.
Yep, yeah, I was just checking my notes.
Sorry.
The only themes we have seen definitively are the 2 forms of Mylon.
We've also seen Volvalis as well.
Yes, you're right, we saw Bikini Tornado.
So now here is the question, what is Dia going to do with all this newfound freedom? The answer, heading out to the Fey March.
Not going to loot, though, it looks like, as she did not take a safety save before diving.
Yeah, we have not seen much looting at all from Dia. She seems to feel very confident with the equipment loadout that she's got. Dia has favored mage-heavy strategies throughout this tournament, and looks like that's going to be the case here again with the 2 Paloms. Feeling already confident with the gear that they have. That's one of the advantages of these mage-heavy parties, is you really don't need much gear.
That's right. With the sparse flags, meaning gear is less easy to come by, we've got a lot more reliance on these mages who do not require nearly as much gear to be as effective. Instead of an adamant rock, we've got a party rock, though. Yeah,
that's we were just talking about looting, and there's access to the Troya vaults there, but the way Dia's been playing, I don't think she's going to be checking them.
May or may not get to rate that treasury. CPU and Bahamut, these are not too bad.
Yeah, not at all. CPU will be a slog. Bahamut is relatively free, as long as you're just careful with setting up your Star Veils. Dia didn't save either. When is the last time Dia?
Not.
When is the last time she saved?
Before Plague.
That's wow. That is so confident. You really love to see that kind of just aggressive play here by Dia.
Dia is a gambler for sure. She likes to go fast and she likes to take risks.
So it's going to take at least 2 more Mega Nukes reflected here, my memory serves, to get through the HP of the spot.
Chad is correcting me. She did apparently save in Baymarch.
Oh,
She
did
was
she?
just so
Okay.
fast I didn't notice.
Okay.
Thank you, Chad, keeping me honest.
A little less dramatic than we thought it was, but still, I like the aggressive, just going into the fights you know you can take here. And Fleury is able to get a quick stop out on the top guard, so having a much easier time here than Dia did. You gotta wonder if his agility is set up a little differently than Dia had hers.
We see him going for weak strats as opposed to frog strats, which is kind of neat. As mentioned previously, these are not bosses as far as the certain flags are concerned, so they can be hit by weak as well as the Stop and Frog and other things.
Yeah, now that Tella is not in the middle spot, so he has significantly lower accuracy with that weak spell, but nails 2 of them in a row, so that's big. He can have a hard time hitting if he's not in that middle spot, but rolling the dice, Fleury here, and coming up exactly what he wants.
That's right. Tella's accuracy is not great as a consequence of his stats in general not being great, so you really want to give him some wisdom boosting gear or put him in the middle slot so that he can actually do things consistently. Meanwhile, Dia, for her trouble, gets a ninja hat. Decent piece of gear, boosts all of your physical stats. Will go nicely on that cane.
Yeah, I mean, Dia's not doing any looting, and it's still paying off. You know, that's a check you make 9 times out of 10 there anyway, because it's not a difficult fight by any stretch of the imagination. It really doesn't rely on you having a powered-up party to take on. So that's basically a free ninja hat, because almost anyone is going to make that check, and Dia's aversion to looting is paying off here.
Imagine if we had a ninja, though.
Imagine if we had a ninja. Just a Dragoon pretending to be one.
He just can't hold that sword right, though. He keeps trying to hold it like a spear, and it's just not working.
Imagine if Kain could dual-wield spears, though.
That would be kind of fancy.
Going for CPU here, I'm very curious to see what kind of strategy Dia goes for.
Yeah, with the speed of this spot, it's going to be difficult because you're going to keep getting hits from the mazers. We see Reflect coming up.
Oh, are we going for a potential float strategy?
We're going to float strats.
Oh, I love it. I love this so much.
That's right. For those who don't know, despite the hovering animations, these are ground-bound enemies. But if you can get a float status on one of the orbs, you can just spam Quake to your heart's content and do lots of damage. Unfortunately, we put float on the defender, which means you'll be slower, but you'll stop getting blown away by those mazers.
Yeah, it hit one of the nodes. It's basically a 2 in 3 chance that you hit at least one of the nodes. He goes! Dia goes for the second float. That one's a coin flip, and it comes up on heads. That's big news.
Right, because now we can virus down the defender, and yeah, fun times. I am curious why she came in with 2 characters down, though, but maybe we can ask her about that later.
Well, I believe those are the characters that were down from Bahamut, and that she just didn't bring them up. Wasn't going to need them. Only needed someone casting Quake here.
Yeah, she got Tella up, and then she used the tent.
Yeah, so I guess the idea here is, well, all I need is one person luffed into the stratosphere casting Quake, so no point raising the others. Yeah, PK 4787 in chat pointing out we have not found the life potions yet, so being a little stingy with them.
Yeah, but if you're gonna use a tent anyway, why not have Telecast Life or Rosa?
Yeah, that's true.
but Dia doing Dia things.
And now here comes the Quake. Doesn't hit the node because it has the flood status on, so that is going to prevent it from dying and having CPU go into its globe 199 routine. So now we just Quake, and end this fight in relatively quick fashion.
Yeah, and Tella may or may not live through this fight, as not getting a whole lot of healing. Tella will not be living through this fight.
Yeah, Tella at this point is just basically bringing that expanded spell list to the party. Not really someone who's going to contribute a lot in a fight, just utility here and there, so Dia's not really concerned with whether or not he gets XP or not. In fact, it might be better to just leave him dead most of the time, because he's more than likely going to be your anchor in the final fight.
Right, I don't think she checked the Baron armor shop, so she doesn't necessarily know about those first ranks.
And meanwhile, Fleury hot on Dia's heels in getting into that Bahamut fight, using the same strategy here. Preserving some Star Veils by having Tella hardcasting Wall here.
Yeah, Wall as a spell does not last as long as the Star Veil item, but it does the same thing. That's what matters. You just survive those Mega Nukes.
Yeah, it's one of the useful things about those J abilities is usually the length would be determined by the stats of the caster. But if you use a J item, it basically assumes that you're using it with the highest possible stats, so the statuses will last significantly longer time. That's a pass, that's access to Threemus, so we would need that eventually.
Yep. Darkness Crystal is now technically optional, depending on what's up there. Not even gonna check the item. Did she check the item shop?
Gosh, if she did, it was so quick, I didn't tell.
Yeah, question from chat about spells bypassing. The wall status, I believe the only black magic that does so is Quake.
Meteor does as well, but I think...
Who casts Meteor?
Yeah, who casts? Yeah, swag people cast Meteor.
True, Meteor is done for the fans.
Yeah, Meteor has such a long wind-up time on casting it that there are very few situations where you would want to use it where another spell wouldn't be more useful, but those occasions do kind of pop up.
Tella does cast Meteor, and look what it gets him.
Yeah, vengeance isn't the answer, kids.
You must fight to protect things, not to destroy things.
And going in, checking on Young. Fleury just noped out on the CPU fight, though.
I mean, that's not awful. It's gonna be annoying. Chat points out that Ether 2s were in the Fame Art shop, though, so that's a nice find. Dia probably will not go back there to find them, though.
Yeah, Dia is probably mentally checked off the Fame March as this is everything done here. Never have to come back here in my life. So, yeah, we'll unfortunately miss out on those. That'll be a little bit of a hassle if it comes to a D-Machine grind to get our characters up to speed here, because that Ether 2 is going to be a lot more useful than Ether 1s, but...
Yeah, you can do it with Ether 1s, it's just nicer with Ether 2s. Actually, 1 is another key.
Yep, more incentive to stay in the underworld here.
Chat pointing out we are very close to 1 hour and we are not in go mode, which is unusual for this particular series.
Yeah, that's been one of the things, is this has been an exceedingly challenging flag set, and the caliber of runner that we've had in these finals have just been smoking it all the same. We have had some incredibly fast finishes, given the level of difficulty that these flags can provide, so it just kind of shows you just how much the skill ceiling continues to grow in Free Enterprise.
Yeah, I think the development of the 1200 hit point strats have helped as well. There's life potions in Agart.
Very, very good find. That's got to be a huge relief for Dia there. So we're at about parity here between our runners. The only difference is Dia has got that pass, Fleury does not. But maybe we're seeing a little bit more diversion here. Fleury might be checking Tower of Zot, while Dia seems intent on going to Dwarf Castle.
Yeah, We also forgot to mention the ever-important Lunar Staff and Silent Staff on Fleury's side.
Yes, very, very good point. Fleury has gone into Odin. Didn't pay off, but that Rosa is packing a lot of wisdom right now. Excuse me, Will. Yes. Will is the white magic spell.
Yes, I mix them up all the time. I play a lot of D&D, and wisdom is usually associated with the more traditional white magic type stuff.
Yeah, same. I do the same thing.
And Fleury is going straight into Zot, not paying attention to that treasure yet. I think I saw the sparkle on Dia's screen.
I thought it was the Magus Sisters, but I could be wrong.
Oh, you are correct. I only saw it out of the corner of my eye. It is Magus Sisters. You are correct. We've got two casters with Wake.
You probably just saw the sparkle of their incredible camaraderie through their sisterhood.
Screw that. They're a very good team. I definitely did not just write Quake down in my notes instead of Magus.
Yeah, Magus Sisters can be a difficult fight. It becomes a significantly less difficult fight when you have two black mages spamming Quake. Yeah, that's a significant amount of damage from that fire too, but here's a little bit more significant of an amount of damage here.
Yep. Yeah. That'll just about do it. That does in fact do it.
Question is this vanilla Magus Sisters? No, this is the vanilla Calcabrana spot. Magus Sisters are in the Tower of Zod, which is where Fleury is, and has found the Kaito Towers. Oh wow, two more of those free fights that we've been talking about.
And there's a Sid.
Yeah, obviously we've got our teams decided for both runners, but even if they weren't, Sid, we're kind of at the point in the seed where Sid will have outlived his usefulness anyway.
Right, we have Tella already, so we don't need Sid to play the role of anchor.
Yeah, if you find Sid earlier in the seed, he can be very useful, especially in this flag set when it can be hard to find a nice, sturdy, reliable character early on. Edge, we talked about how he comes into that level advantage, and that's huge for him, but he is gated behind at least one key item. Sid also comes with a level advantage, but he is not gated behind anything, so he can be really, really useful in the early game and even into the mid game at some points.
Yes, Fleury also finding a Sid for his trouble. But yes, as mentioned, Sid is useful all throughout. He's very good in the early game with his hit points and ability to wear heavy equipment. And in the late game, he's got a crap ton of hit points, and he can be slow enough to serve as a very effective agility anchor.
Oh yeah, Chemist, Sid. Oh gosh, is that the fourth Edward?
That is the fourth Edward, I think.
It is a quartet of bards here today.
And Luca is rocking a tower key.
That is access to basically the entire underworld at this point.
Yes, it is. Everything except the pan.
Yes, that would be the one check that is missing from down here.
Yeah, and otherwise we have the entire overworld except the rat tail and the twin harp.
Yeah, so it's starting to look more and more like the moon holds the key somewhere, but we got to find a way to get there.
Yes, and double checking my notes, that was in fact Edward number 4.
Fancy pointing out a barter shot quartet. Very well done. Very, very, very well done.
My name is Pixel Tamer, and I approve of this pun.
And we are through the Leviathan fight at Zot. So very quickly, we're going to be getting a key item check from Fleury, and this might be very important. All of a sudden, with all these spots open, these checks are becoming very vital.
Yeah, we also get a free heal, which will save those few precious seconds that you don't have to use a tent for. I will encourage all the puns I want, thank you very much. Oh, that's big. That's an objective.
That is huge. Yeah, ordinarily packaged, not a very interesting item, but it is an objective today. And just like that, Fleury is a key item and Zeromus access away from go mode.
Let's see if it's full like a quarter leg.
just a quarter pound of lead today.
Put up a Star Veil, bounce Fire Tooth.
Yep, going with the bluff on Palom, so that is probably the strategy here.
Yeah, get some free damage with Kane in the meantime.
Yeah, one of the interesting quirks of Final Fantasy IV is that a lot of the enemy transitions are considered counterattacks in the game, and there is a hard and fast rule in Final Fantasy IV, and that is you cannot counterattack a counterattack.
That's right.
If you reflect spells, that is considered a counterattack. So you can prevent phase transitions by reflecting spells, and then we will never see anything past this initial Mylon Z form when it would normally go into something else. There's the Fire 3, it's reflected, and he's down.
Oh, there's the Direct Fire 3. We just did enough damage to
Yeah,
do
never
one
mind.
shot. That's Darkness Crystal.
And wow, 2 big key item finds by both runners here. That opens up the entire world here for Dia.
Yeah, this is getting spicy.
Yeah, initially, normally when you find the Darkness Crystal and you've got Tella, that just screams D Machine, D Machine, D Machine. But Dia's got a really strong party. I gotta wonder, like, if maybe the play is to just go start doing moon checks instead.
Oh, this is not the spot you want to see Mom Bomb.
Yeah, this is normally a very fast fight. Mom Bomb tacks on a couple thousand extra HP whenever it shows up, so turns this into more of a slog than it needs to be. Yeah, these divergent paths by these runners have made this very, very interesting.
Yeah, and they're both finding important things. Nobody's behind. Like, they're both making progress, which is not what you normally see when things get so divergent like this.
Yeah, usually it's one runner finds something big that kind of puts them on the right path, and the other runner's going to be playing catch-up. It looks like that might have been the case here with the package for Fleury. It still might be a little bit, since that Darkness Crystal might throw Dia off the trail, but you know there's still that Forge out there as an alternative objective to the package. So I mean, this is still anybody's race here.
For sure. Yeah, this is super exciting. Knowing these runners, they're going to finish within a couple minutes of each other, even though they're on these widely different paths.
Yeah, right you are.
Where did Fleury get the package from? Oh, was that the reward for Zot? That was the reward for Zot.
Yeah, well, indeed from Zot.
Yeah, so if Dia does Zot, she's in go mode. If Fleury does Top of Tower, he's in go mode. If Dia finds the adamant on the moon, she's in go mode.
Right, yeah, it's now you just gotta weigh is Dia likely to do Zot before she goes to the moon? And I've gotta think with how much of a time investment Zot is with all the cutscenes that she's gonna prioritize the moon here.
Oh, is she gonna check Drop Door for us? She's probably not because it's slow, but we can hope.
Yeah, gonna check the shop at least. Still a couple things out there that could be useful. Not today, though.
Yeah, still would be nice if we had a Iridia. Exit, we've got a Tella.
Now, she still has not found that curse ring, so we're going to be checking the armory. Unfortunately, we know that it is over in Baron, which is one of the few shops she did not check. Ooh, Fleury is making a play on the tower.
Yeah, I agree with Chad. Don't think Dia found the cursed ring. But yeah, Fleury is going up, gonna get his go mode.
Yeah, this is getting really, really interesting. Dia is going to commit here to the sealed cave. It's got to be adamant here for her to be keeping up now, doesn't it?
Well, this is a very fast check because if it's something we don't want, we just reset out.
That's true.
And this is the one spot where you get the key item before you fight the boss.
Yeah, that's very true. I guess it could also be If it was the pan, that would be something to carry out because that would be a few key item checks as well.
Yeah. Twin Harp is a key item check and a crowd favorite.
Yep, absolutely. Magma Key Spoon, you would reset out, and Rat Tail you'd have to keep as well.
Yeah, Rat Tail you'd have to keep as well because that's a check.
Gosh, yeah, this is a very, very vital check here coming up for Dia.
Chat points out that yes, you also do get the key item before the third boss on Ordeals. But still 2 bosses on Ordeals before you get that key item.
Yeah, you rarely see somebody reset out of the key item at Ordeals just because the boss afterwards is so quick. And you're usually doing it so early in the game that you want to just go through it anyway.
I've thought about it sometimes, like if I get something low powerful like a wizard hat, which is always I feel bad.
And you don't have a Cecil or a Tella to power up, you're just kind of there.
Yeah. Alright, here it is, moment of truth. That's not anything good.
Yeah. That's not the worst thing though, because that means that's a quick reset out for Dia, and Dia can maybe get back on track here.
Yeah, that was like 2 minutes spent, tops.
Yeah. Dia has got to go to Zot. If Dia goes to the moon, then that's just going to open up so much time here for Fleury.
What if Murasame Altar is free and held to the Adamant Rock?
She's going to Zot. She was backing up. She's going. She stopped. She's landing. Okay, she's going to Zot. Dia, please.
No, she's shopping.
Oh my gosh.
There was nothing exciting in these shops. What is she doing? She hasn't been here yet.
Okay.
She has not checked these shops.
Okay. It could still be going to Zot. Oh,
She's
no.
leaving.
No.
She's going to Baron. Is she going to set up?
That's, that could be what she's doing. She could be going for the grind now. Or, hasn't been to Odin as well. That could be what she's doing. Is going to the Odin. I guess we'll find out here in a second.
No, she's going for Odin.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense. And this will be really, really quick compared to when Fleury had to rely on the breath strats. Diaz has way more offensive potential at her fingertips, and can reset out once she finds out it's not worth it. But this is still building up more time here for Fleury to get ahead.
Yeah. Fleury did not one-shot the elements. We just saw Quake get cast against Babalis form.
Okay, that's a little bit more time that Dia was able to earn over Fleury there, just with a quicker elements
but
fight.
we also got Go mode on Fleury's side now, so
yes,
it worked out.
Indeed, yeah, that is Go mode for Fleury. He can go burn down Mist, head to the moon, defeat that Murasame Altar, and go right to Zoronis.
This is super exciting.
Yeah, this is exactly the kind of race you want to see from these two competitors. Not only is it still super close, but they've taken radically different routes to get there, and it's just one decision may make or break this, and it's really, it's up to Dia. If Dia makes what ends up being the correct decision, right back in this race. Otherwise, then yeah, this is Fleury's to lose.
Yeah, the Fleury does wisely skip that Mom Bomb fight. Will not benefit from his Artemis arrows. Oh no, that's terrible.
Yeah, plus he is already at 10 key items as well, so even if it was a key item at that spot, it wouldn't benefit him at all. He knows he's got everything he needs to finish the seed.
Yeah. Probably gonna do the grind before going up to the moon, just to have fewer cutscenes.
Yeah, and there are, now keep in mind, there are still some nasty things that can show up in that Murasame Altar. We have not seen Golbez. We have not seen Wyvern. Wyvern is the only lunar boss left. So there could be some nasty surprises waiting for our runners.
There could be Golbez, there could be Wyvern, there's a fan favorite Baigan.
Oh yeah, love Baigan. Baigan is one of those bosses you don't really think about in the vanilla game because he's not terribly difficult, but give him some souped up stats and all of a sudden he becomes a menace.
Yeah, there's also some kind not so. Evil Wall, Dark Knight could be potentially painful. I'm not sure what the magic attack power for the Demus Hail Dam spot is. I'm getting too excited. I'm getting tongue-tied.
Yeah, that if it's Dark Knight Cecil there, then that becomes a matter of if you grinded first or not. If you grinded first, you should be fine. If not, you're going to have lower HP totals and might be in a little bit of trouble there.
Dia gonna reset. I called it. Yeah, she's resetting.
Yeah, no reason to hang around for just that lunar staff. And now
she's setting up the grind.
Yeah, setting up the grind. Okay. So this is perfectly fine move here. It's going to come down to what do you do after the grind.
That's the third palom at missed.
You've got some interesting character sets here. 4 bards, 3 paloms, 3 tellas, I think.
Let me double check.
Clue, bless your notes.
Yes, 3 tellas.
Excellent.
And only 2 roses so far, but 3 paloms. Could have a very nice matching party if we didn't already have to commit to our characters.
So why don't you explain to those that might be a little unfamiliar with what the new meta has sort of become this flag set. What exactly is Dia doing here in Baron with encounters on?
Sure. So the traditional approach to getting the D-Machine grind is to go into the Giant of Babel, save at the save point, reset, turn encounters on, and then run around counting your steps and figure out when you're going to run into the right encounter to get the D-Machines. However, our crafty admins decided to set the E can't run flag for this tournament, which means you can't run away, and it becomes a lot more dangerous to set up the grind that way. While I'm explaining, Dia just found her curse ring, but what we do and what some enterprising runners have done instead is they've figured out a way to do the step counting trick outside of Baron, and then because you can counter and toggle encounters on and off in the flag sets we've got set here, you can turn off encounters once you've got the right random seed, head into the giant, and get your D-Machine fight that way. It potentially takes a little longer, but it's also a whole lot safer.
We thought disabling running from encounters would stop your pesky D-Machine grind, but you dastardly speedrunners found a way around it. We'll get you next time.
Yes, I love the admin take on this, and that's part of why I enjoy commentating with you.
It's always great making rules for a community that you find out is way smarter than you.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big thing in game development is within the first week, your player base will have tested the game more than you will have done with your entire QA staff over the course of months. Welcome, Raid from Panda Peach.
Welcome, welcome. Yeah, we are in the middle of a real nail-biter here. Coming down to the wire. We have go mode for Fleury. Dia is 1 check away. They're both going into their grinds right now. It's going to be a big call here. As soon as Dia finishes her D-Machine grind, what she decides to do. The go mode is waiting for her at the Tower of Zot. And if she decides to go to the moon first, then this is going to be Fleury C.
Yeah. Right, she doesn't have the package, so no matter what, she would have to come back to Earth in order to get her crystal. On the other hand, she's got the pass.
Yes, exactly, yeah. So if she goes to the moon and finds the adamant quickly, then she could still be in this because of that pass. She did do that CPU fight in the Fame Arch that gave her that pass. It's one of the big edges that she has over Fleury, and everyone's going to be saying, no, nobody picked up Edge. I'm getting ahead of the joke this time.
Yeah. So, yeah, Dia is at a disadvantage. She is not out of this by any stretch.
No, these are 2 of the absolute best racers that we have in the community, so neither of them is out until the final flash on Zeronis.
It looks like Dia's encounter manipulation is sending her to the Elements room for her fight. Looks like Fleury will be doing it in the save room. So why are D-Machines great?
Oh gosh, why aren't D-Machines great? There are so many features about the D-Machine that makes them such a juicy target for experience. First of all, they give a lot of it. They give a really nice amount of experience. This is a very end-game location in the vanilla game, so the enemies here do give a good bit of experience for time invested on them. But some other properties on them is that you can continually spawn them in the same encounter here. By hitting that searcher, if you are in the right encounter, it will spit out a D-Machine each time if there's not one out already. So you can just keep racking up kills on the D-Machine, getting your experience through the stratosphere. You don't have to reset the encounter. You don't have to keep looking for it. It's all done just in this one fight. You can use the life glitch on them, which is where you bring an enemy back to life, and it comes with as many hit points as it has points of vitality. But D-Machines, as well as every other enemy in this game, doesn't have a vitality score. So it comes back with 0 HP, and immediately dies again, and you get double the experience on it. If you buffer things properly, it looks like Dio is going for a buffer strat here. And yeah, nails it there. You can actually get 2 life potions out, and get triple the experience.
If your name is Dusty Grip, you can get 3 or 4 life glitches off.
Yeah, then you're an actual warlock, and you actually just see the code as you're playing the game.
Yeah. But as you said, we're in an endgame location. Why aren't we dying horribly?
Yeah, that was going to be the last feature of the D-Machines that's really great. Under normal circumstances, the only attacks they use are that fire ability, which is percentage HP based. So you can actually sneak away by winning this fight at low levels because you are not going to get hit with like a physical attack that's going to do more damage than you have health. You're always going to be able to withstand an attack from the D-Machine, and since it's vulnerable to that weak spell, all you need to do is hit it with a weak, hit it with a physical attack.
Right, if you do perform a damaging action against the D-Machine and fail to defeat it, it will smack you really hard with a physical attack.
Yes. Always make sure your weak lands before you commit to a physical attack. Sincerely, all of my lost runs.
And this is why we put Tella in the middle.
Yes. Gets that accuracy bonus for being in the middle, and is therefore able to have hit with those weaks more consistently. Does it actually boost up to 100 if he's in the middle?
I know it is a multiplier by 1.25. I don't know if that brings him up to 100. But I don't think anecdotally, I don't think I've seen him miss in the middle.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think I've ever seen him miss in the middle either, but yeah, that's really anecdotal. So generally, you're going to see experience totals at the end of this fight over 1 million. What our runners are basically aiming to do is to just get power overwhelming, get to the point where they can just roll through the rest of the seed, and then ideally give Tella a little bit of a nap there before the fight is over, so he gets none of that experience and is a proper agility anchor. And was Dia having to use some psych strats there for some MP?
Possibly. I was just doing a recount for key items, and yeah, we're at 9 and 8 respectively, so neither runner is going to get double XP. One of the nice quality of life things in Free Enterprise is if you've got 10 key items, you're probably almost done, so we're going to give you double experience points to help you finish faster.
Correct me if I'm wrong, I know Dia doesn't because the pass isn't a key item, but I believe Fleury does have that 10 key item.
You are correct. I can't count.
No, it's okay. They've taken this divergent route, so it's difficult to keep that straight. But yeah, he is going to be getting twice the experience that Dia is going to be getting here, so his grind should be substantially shorter.
Yes. The goal here is to get Palin up to Nuke and Rosa to Tier 4. Life 2 would be good as well. Maybe White, but Palin with Nuke is the main objective here.
Yeah, these sort of mage-heavy parties that have been really favored in the table flags here mean that you want to get these highest tier, White Nuke spells for your casters, because they're going to be what's going to be doing all of your damage to Threemus. You're just going to basically reflect spells off of him. And like we were talking about earlier, because reflect spells don't trigger base transitions, you actually only fight half of Threemus because he's got more HP than the game can handle. So you're actually fighting 2 forms of him under normal circumstances. And when he gets within a certain range, he counterattacks by switching to a better form, but reflecting spells on there, you can't counterattack with that. And we call that the refill skill.
Yep, and while we were talking, Fleury did finish his grind, got a nice 880,000 experience points, got his nukes, got his whites, and is going to just warp on out of here.
Yeah, Fleury is off to the moon, he's off to the races, and Dia is in catch-up mode now.
Yes. one awkward thing about the Giant of Babel is if you're going to cast Warp to get out of here, you want to only cast Warp to get out of here, because the way the doors are implemented here is they send you to a new area always, as opposed to potentially sending you back to the previous area like the Warp spell does. So I've had a few times where I've gone back and forth between the save room and the elements room on foot, and then started casting Warp, and found myself going back to the elements room instead of the previous room.
Yeah, Warp can be a really janky spell in some places, so be careful with it.
Yeah, I've only noticed it being annoying like that inside the Giant. Everywhere else I've used it, it usually does what I want.
Well, unless you're doing the Warp glitch, but that's an especially specific kind of jank.
Yeah, and Warp glitch is not turned on in this level of the flag set. It was available earlier in the tournament. TLDR, the room used for the crystal fight encounter in Dwarf Castle is the same room as the one used in the sealed cave, and so after you complete the Dwarf Castle bosses, you can use the Warp spell to get back into that room and grab the key item from the sealed cave without having to go through the sealed cave. But Dia has done her grind. We're sorting out her spells. Still gonna start spamming Warp to get out of here.
Yeah, and just like you mentioned, even though it was one step away from the exit, using Warp in there to make sure that she's still warping out from room to room.
There's Bard number 5.
There we go. We could have had a full party of Edward. Well, I guess we couldn't have because we started with a Palom, but there were 5 Edwards here.
There are 5 bards, everyone. Welcome, Raid from Apex Corvette. We have a very hype race going on right now.
Yes, we are getting close to the end here. Fleury is in go mode. He's heading to the final objective that he needs, which is that Murasame altar, and then he is all set to go to Zeromus. Dia is still an objective away from getting to where she needs to be. Did not find the package that Fleury did, but she also has the pass. So if she is able to put something together here and then go through the pass routes to Zeromus, she can get right back into this. But it's becoming more and more Fleury's race here, and yeah, Dia is heading to the moon. This is going to be dicey for Dia here.
That's Octomam. This is not bad. This is fine. And,
yeah, I've got to imagine that Dia is going to be going right to that Murasame altar as well. Get your objectives done and check them here. We'll see what item has it when Fleury does. I think the only thing that can save Dia's race at this point is if that is the Adam.
I am inclined to agree with you. But like we keep saying, she's down. She's not out by any stretch because she's crazy good at this game.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, anything can happen at this point, but Fleury has a substantial advantage right now.
Chat has been calling for Edwardmas.
That would be the appropriate way to end this seed, I believe.
Yeah. The first time I ran into the Edward sprite for Zeromus... Oh, that's a rat tail. The first time I ran into the Edward sprite for Zeromus, I got super thrown off, partially because it was funny, but also because the name of the sprite was a 0 word, which threw me off because I was waiting for the name change to know when to throw my star bill, and well, the name change didn't work the way I expected.
Distraction Bard.
Yep.
And so with the rat tail being on the Murasame altar, it's got to be adamant behind rat tail, and Dia checks it immediately.
Yeah, I think if you're Dia, what you do after getting that rat tail is you exit, you save, and then you go back and check it.
Yeah, the old save scumming method.
Yes. One of the Galaxy Brain plays for this game is taking advantage of all of your save slots. Being able to warp around the world very quickly if you need to get back somewhere in a hurry.
Yeah, it's one of the things, it's one of those sort of micro optimizations that can really separate elite runners from the rest of the pack is you've got 4 save files and they're very much a resource like anything else in the game. Setting up saves at different spots just to save a little bit of time here and there, or to alleviate some of the time loss from a huge gamble. You can mitigate that with clever use of save files, so definitely something to keep in mind.
Alright, so you Dia, you get the rat tail, you go back and check it. It gives you the twin heart. What do you do then?
If it's me, and keep in mind, I am nowhere near the league of player that these are, I would have to just keep following that. It would be, in my mind, sunk cost fallacy, where I would just have to keep seeing that through to the end.
Yeah, I'm
Maybe.
but I just don't know for sure.
Yeah, there's just such a wealth of key item checks available on the moon, and you know, in such rapid succession. And since you've already done your grind, you're already powerful enough to basically take on everything in the game. It's really difficult to reasonably pry yourself away from that chasing, you know, ghosts essentially.
Yeah, and looks like she's gonna head back to Earth, like I called.
Yeah, so this will be one of the safe scum checks. If this doesn't turn into anything useful, reset right to the moon. For Dia's sake, we're hoping it's the adamant, because Fleury is on his way to Zeromus here.
That's right, and we've got some flags coming out. So we haven't seen Threemus yet, but this is a randomizer. Why haven't we run into that guy yet?
We took him out. It was too hard. Just take him out of the game. Replaced him with just a couple of imps.
Alright, if we get Impsmas, I'll believe you, but otherwise, we don't put Threemus in the boss pool. He's really hard, he does nasty things. So instead, because this is a randomizer and we gotta randomize things, we change what he looks like. His battle script and everything stays the same, but he gets to take one of over 460 different appearances, driven largely by Boardface and Skullkitty, our lead developer and lead artist, respectively. There's a bunch of fun stuff from a variety of spots. There's the twin arm.
And resetting out of it.
Holy crap!
The moon.
But it's time to ask, for the last time in this series, whose butt are we about to kick tonight?
Butt time engaged. Fleury is on the verge of a massive upset. The number 12 seed taking out the number 2 seed, largely considered one of the strongest, if not the absolute strongest racer in this tournament. We have history in the making here, potentially.
Chad asking who called it. I called it. Commentator's curse. Sorry, Dia.
We have you to blame. The crystal is thrown. The true form is terrifying.
Oh, it's The World Ends With You, one of my favorite games. That is the boss of the second story arc, and a bunch of the monsters from the game that are referred to collectively as noise.
Very interesting. Yeah, that is one heck of a spray.
Yeah, the art style in The World Ends With You is fantastic, and I highly recommend anybody who has access to it should play it. It was originally released on the DS. I know there have been re-releases on mobile devices. There's a Switch port that has some extra content. It's a really good game. You should check it out.
As we mentioned a long time ago when we first found out that Silk Web getting thrown out, not only is that going to layer 2 layers of slow on Zeromus and get him down to speed, it's also going to counter-attack with that nuke, which is going to nerf his initial Big Bang and make him much more manageable early on here.
Yes, in one of the more recent Kingdom Hearts games, there is a reference made to The World Ends With You. The main character, Neku, does show up at some point. We've got Karate Man somewhere down on the moon. I know she's in one of the lower spots. I would expect this to be a Ribbon Room.
Yeah, I believe that's where she ducked into. Yeah. And yeah, as we mentioned earlier, the flurry of spells coming out here from Fleury in order to skip that HP refill we were talking about, reflecting off of their Dragoon. So he has definitely got an important role here to have a bunch of HP and not flinch when spells are thrown his way.
Chat mentioned a World Ends With You anime. That does exist. We must not watch the trailer until we're done here. It is one of my favorite games. It's not as good as Chrono Trigger, but it's darn good.
And Yang is down here for Dia. Dia's going to get 2 key item checks here, but her time is rapidly running out. Just a few more spells here from Fleury and Shaminimus.
Oh no! That was a heroin and a crystal ring.
Oof, yeah, not any kind of progression there.
Well, it looks great. You're great.
Another nuke here from Callum. We are getting close to the end here. Is this going to be the final nail? That's it! Ladies and gentlemen, everybody, we have our first finalist in the highlight of the Threemus zone, FF4FE, with the incredible upset over second seed Dia, has won and is going on to the championships.
Get all those GGs out. Get hype. This is big.
Yeah, that like I said, this was going to be one of the greatest matches of this tournament, and it certainly ended up to be just some incredibly divergent paths here by both runners. Fleury ended up taking the better route here, got to the end, and is going to enjoy, being the first person confirmed into the end of this tournament. So major GGs to him. Just a fantastic job pulling off the upset here.
Yeah, Dia, meanwhile, gets through those Calbrenas with a swag medio. It's a glass helm for her trouble. Still not what she needs. She's going to go and check Pogo spots.
Yeah, the moon just not paying off here. Just full of gear, not the key items that you really want to be seeing. Good news is this is a very free fight here for Dia.
Looks like we're about to be joined by tonight's winner. Welcome, Fleury. GG. Congratulations on being our first finalist of the year.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So how do you feel? I imagine you're pretty excited.
Yeah, that's a little bit of an understatement. I do feel like I got a little lucky on key item placement. Just because, like, from watching Dia quite a bit in preparation for this, I know that Zot is one of the checks that she does not like to make. So when I saw when I saw a package on Zot, it was probably a play I make anyway after Baron and Odin, especially the Odin spot not paying off. I kind of think that's the way to go anyway. But when I saw Zot, figured there was a chance, and then I was just like, I just need Darkness Crystal to be in a spot where I think Dia will check right away. Now I don't know, but I know she's a fan of Keyless Tower, which is why, even though I got the tower key, I went and did the top first, thinking, if this is Darkness Crystal, I think I'm in really good shape.
Yeah, she did not do tower until she got the key. That's a life staff for King Queen Evelyn.
Oh. Yeah, so, like, I definitely feel like I got lucky there, but I also managed to play pretty clean, and I'm just super thrilled to actually make it this far.
Yeah, you two were going back and forth and did very divergent routes. It was really exciting to watch.
Yeah, I did want to ask, when you made that really early Odin play, and with the D-Lunars, which is not a quick fight since you had to go with the breath strats and wade through, and all you got was the lunar staff, and then ended up getting a silent staff on the way out anyway. Did that sort of like affect your game plan at all? Was that like a real huge morale hit, or what were you kind of thinking after investing that much time and having been coming up empty for it?
A little bit. Baron has been good to me this tournament so far, so I kind of wanted to keep the luck rolling, hopefully, with Baron. But when it didn't pay off, the immediate thought was, well, if I figure I end up taking the ogre fight, then I'm getting 18,000 experience from this Odin spot anyway. So it's definitely not a wash. I still lose time, and it also pushes me to gamble a little harder on either all Earth or all Moon. But I kind of felt like in a race like this, I needed one of those off-kilter Earth spots to pay off. Because putting yourself in a position where you're just going to flat race Dia to the moon, I felt like was a great way to lose by 2 minutes.
Yeah, I think you mentioned on Tuesday that you did not want to do a straight-up race against Dia because you have just how fast she can be.
Yeah, it's sometimes maybe I could hope that things go right and I'm ahead, but I felt like it made a little more sense to try to gamble a little bit on Earth spots where I think I could pull it off. And usually, D-Lunars, you alluded to it that, it's not a fast fight. It's doable, but it's not a fast fight. So it's a little bit of a bummer, and seeing the free boss spot there definitely didn't help, because then I was kind of hoping, like I said, it would even out with the ogre time, but when you see that boss there, you're like, well, you're not going to take the ogre fight.
Right.
Dope.
And my commentator's curse on Dia just gets worse and worse. I jokingly said Rat Tail into Twin Harp, which she reset out of. But from your spoiler, we see that Twin Harp leads to Pan, leads to Adamant.
Yeah, that's basically like a best case scenario for me. If that Adamant is even like Lower Moon or Cave Bahamut or someone else, I feel like this is a whole lot closer.
Yeah.
So
that was a very heads-up tower of Zot.
Yeah, I definitely feel like I got a little lucky. The time difference is not going to reflect who played that much better.
Right. One of the nice things about randomizer is, yes, luck is a factor, but skill is also a factor. Like, it's this interesting balance where you can have a really good runner who just makes the wrong calls, and the less skilled runner can still make it up. And I'm not saying either of you are bad. You're both excellent. You're in the top 4. But like, it's got this nice bit of variance where it's not always the strictly better player wins.
Yeah, I mean, I've run long sets with Dia, and I think the last time I did post-World Gauntlet, she beat me 4-1. So like, we can race 10 times, and she can beat me 6, 7, 8 times. I really wouldn't bat an eye. So like, she's a really, really, really good runner. This just happened to be a race where the key items very much aligned in my favor.
So Ivan Future here. You are our first confirmed finalist. We've got potentially two matches left here in the semifinals, depending on who takes the win here. Are you hoping for a Dusty in the finals? Are you hoping Pancraz in the finals? Are you hoping for a double elimination on their part? What are you kind of hoping for here?
I don't mind a double elimination. Can that happen? If they tie 8 times, does Scala erase them from existence? Is that?
I think the rule is if you have to wait more than 15 minutes, then class is canceled.
Yeah, I mean, he has threatened to cancel the tournament if we have a third tie. But I do see you going to check out the music for us. Very much appreciated.
Yeah, I'll give that a few seconds.
Yeah, it is. Coming on very shortly.
Oh. The colors in the sky. Who's my samurai?
You have an excellent singing voice.
I mean,
Thanks
we do have footage of Smake D giving us some awesome tunes for particular songs.
Yeah, if the harp is ever broken, I'm on standby.
All right.
So I guess between the finalists, like there's no easy one. And it's funny when the bracket came out and I was speaking with somebody about like, who do you feel your bad matchups are in this? And I'm like, well, the two people I really kind of don't want to face, other than Zilch, just because of the last tournament, was Dusty, because I feel like he plays this in a similar fashion I do, only much better, and Pancraz, because every time like I compared our races and pickups and whatnot, I'm like, this dude is one of the fastest people in Free Enterprise, and I don't think people realize it. So those were both of the people I didn't want to face, and now they're opposite. So they're both going to be hard, but you know, at this point, I think all you can do is just practice as good as you can and just play your game, right?
And you did just beat one of the other fastest runners, so you definitely got a shot no matter who it is you end up against.
Yeah, it's a rando. Anything can happen. I'm not one of the 2 best runners in this tournament. I just happen to be the one of the 2 left in the finals. So
that's right.
Very grateful for it.
There's a lot of very good people in this community, a lot of very good people who have been eliminated, but don't count yourself out by any stretch.
Yeah, hopefully they're all good games for you guys to watch. Hopefully it goes 5 and we get like maximum Free Enterprise.
5 with a tie or 2 in the middle, just to make Scala squirm.
Yeah, come on, you got to sync up at some point.
I mean, whatever. as long as we get like some I don't want to curse myself, but I wouldn't mind seeing like a trolley seed here or there. Oscar, where you at?
Speaking of seed rollers, how do you feel about the level of vanilla in this seed? Are you sure this wasn't rolled by Dathus?
I mean, it's Zoe. Like Zoe's if Dathus is like the gold medal vanilla winner, Zoe is like 0.2 of a second behind for silver. So like it's really really close. I'm just a little sad we didn't get Goosemus as our Z Sprite, so we can get some Zoe honks.
Man, last time, right? Because I was on that stream with Alicel when we had Goosemus. That was fantastic.
That was one of the best races I've ever watched. So.
That's okay. With the Tweety sprites, Pixel Tamer got to fanboy for a bit, so it was
nice.
Yeah. Any other thoughts or things you want to share with us before we say goodnight and congratulations again?
Well, it's just I really appreciate all the work that has gone into this tournament. We're gonna finish, I think, just short of 300 restreams for the whole tournament, which is like absolutely bonkers to think that that's something that this restream team can pull off. And
yeah,
you guys have absolutely nailed it.
Yeah, the restream team has grown a lot. I should know I'm one of the people who joined for the tournament. But yeah, the spreadsheet says we are at 255 total restreams. I'm not sure what the last update on that was, probably yesterday.
Yeah, so it's a lot. It's a lot of
yeah, so mid 260s at the end.
Yep, and I would especially like to give a shout out to Scholar Kitty, who has done, like, we all know how much work she puts into this behind the scenes. But like being an admin, I see even more work that she's putting into this behind the scenes, and it's absolutely amazing. And we are all very lucky to have her doing the work that she does. So really, really, really thankful for
it. Well, thanks so much, Fleury. Really appreciate you coming by and talking to us, and congratulations on your win here, bringing you into the finals. It will be an absolute pleasure getting to watch you compete, no matter who your opponent is, and wishing you the best. Thank you so much.
Thanks, y'all. See you guys next time.
Take care.
That was tonight's winner, tonight's first finalist in Highway to the Threemus Zone, FF4FE. Meanwhile, Dia, I should say, not Scala. Scala's not racing right now. Dia finds Rubicant as the boss of Magnus Cave. Very high magic defense location, but we have Nuke, which is one of the few spells that deals meaningful damage here, so not really much of a problem.
Yeah, Nuke actually, I want to say it's a quarter, but it actually strips some of the magic defense away when used, so you can actually just kind of brute force with it. So that is the pan. That's going to be used on Young in the Underworld. It's going to give us the Adamant. And after a quick forage, Dia will just be able to take that pass right up to Zeromus and finish this seed herself.
Yeah, I hope she takes Kokol for us, just because I want to know what's there.
Oh yeah, the shop in Kokol is always fun to check, just because it can contain such incredibly high tier items in it.
Right.
It's actually the only way to get certain items in this flag. So.
That's right. With S Pro, Kokol is the only shop that will have tier 5 and 6 items. So that's the only way to find sirens in a store. We have the no sirens flag turned on for stealing, so the only way you can get a siren is either by getting lucky with the treasure chest or buying it from Kokol. Likewise, Baka, Swine, Hourglasses, those are both tier 5 items. You're not going to find them out without a treasure chest or a Kokol. Although you can steal and get drops of those, since we didn't turn those off. We're not that mean.
Yeah, the only thing we limit the stealing of is sirens, but you can still steal some Bacchus wines. There are some guaranteed ways to fight Mad Ogres, and they are a very convenient steal from them. So if you want to zerk up, you still can, though with the prevalence of mage-heavy strats, we really haven't seen too much of that.
Yeah, like we said earlier, mages don't require nearly as much gear to be effective as melee fighters, so you're probably going to pick up mages as much as you can. Or do the amazing 1200 hit point strats, or the Edward strats, or all the assorted craziness this community has come up with. Looks like Dia's gonna validate the seed for us. Casino Pit Boss.
Oh, excellent, excellent. Really good sport there, Dia. Love to see that. I also want to go to I really want to go to a dwarven casino now. That actually sounds amazing.
Perfectly crafted, perfectly 90-degree edges, but the dice are made of stone, so they're darn heavy.
Yeah, but just booze everywhere too.
That's true. It'd also be probably one of the most fair casinos you go to.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So, dwarven honor and so on.
Notes for next D&D campaign.
Oh, if you want to talk notes for D&D campaigns, let's talk later.
Yeah, we'll get to
ideas.
Yeah.
Chat asking, are there any other matches tonight? No, this is the only match today. The remaining matches in the semifinals are between X-Pancraz and Dusty Griff, but games 2 and 3 have not been scheduled yet.
Yep, one of our runners in the middle of a move, but as soon as that gets settled, we will.
I can tell you, though, that Pancraz is currently up 1-0 in that series, so Dusty, our number 1 seed, will need to come from behind to get into the finals.
Yeah, as soon as those get scheduled, we will let everybody know. Those are going to be very, very hype.
Yes, pay attention to the Discord, pay attention to the Twitter. We'll make sure people know.
Twitter, another thing that Skull Kitty keeps up. She just does it all.
Yeah, art lead, community manager, cat wrangler. She does many things for us. Thea's gonna go pick up a spoon. Dia will be heading to Troya very shortly. Gonna go throw some spells at some World Ends With You bosses, and then we'll see how she feels and what she's gonna do next. What have been some of the highlights of the tournament from you? You mentioned Goosemas earlier, which was fantastic, and everybody should watch the clip if we can find it for them. But Dia is heading up to the moon, is going to enter that Zeromus fight very quickly, and we'll see another very talented runner take down that Zeromus and get through the seed.
Sorry about that. My mic actually came unplugged, so we're back then.
Cool. So yes, favorite moments from this tournament so far?
Our first official rematch because of a tie happened this tournament. That is still going to stand out in my mind as one of the craziest moments. Just the fact that all the variables you can throw at this game, and still two runners can finish within the same second of one another is incredible to me. So yes, that's my favorite moment.
Yeah, I don't remember who both runners were in that one. I know Neon Gray was one of them because I just kept track of my fellow Ramen Group runners.
I was one that had to frame count it and decide that it actually was a tie. So.
Oh, were you involved in that adjudication?
Yeah, that was one of the ones I rolled. So I was left with the responsibility of determining who won, and then had to hold my hands together, walk up to Scala, and go, actually, nobody won.
Yeah, and Scala Kitty is pointing out that it was Lord Bobbery who was the second member of the first tie of pre-Enterprise Tournament in Land. Which led to a very amusing intro to the rematch. If you don't have a whole lot of time, you should at least watch the first 5 seconds or so of the commentary. You might get a laugh or two.
Yeah, that is a VOD to watch for sure.
2 ties. The craziness of the Hook 2 play-in race where we were in go mode before we left Baron Castle. I guess I'm not the only person who has nightmares about that particular race, so let's not go too deep on it.
All the memories we've created over the last few months, but still not over. We still have one more round left to go.
Yeah, this has been a long tournament, but it's been a fun tournament. We've had a good time.
Yeah, and just a huge shout out to all the community for coming out and all the fans that have tuned in to watch. It's just been an absolute pleasure putting on the show for everybody and watching everyone's excitement and all the hype that's built up. So, seriously, thank you everybody for watching these races.
Yeah, we are happy to be able to do our part to help distract people from the unpleasant things in the world, particularly COVID-19, and that we're all stuck at home and able to go and see our friends.
Very similar strats here from Dia that we were seeing. Same reflect strats with the Mage Heavy party here we were talking about to skip that HP refill and get this fight done substantially quicker. Rosa chiming in with that white spell. It's not as useful as the nuke spell because it actually has a little bit of a cast time, whereas nuke is instant, but still does a large amount of damage and helps Rosa contribute to a fight that she's really not going to be needed to deal much in. Possum Morpheus saying, haven't needed cable TV since this tourney started. Anything we can do to help cut the cord, we're happy to apply.
That's free content. We have fun here.
Free content, free enterprise. On that second Paladin chipping in with Virus, he has to have move at this point, doesn't he?
Maybe not. Maybe he just had one nuke is good enough. Or... Oh, we've got a swag video coming
swag! Down. I see what your plan is, Dia.
She's counting damage carefully. There's the flash.
Going out with style. GG's to Dia on that finish. And the stylish.
But I do see you going to
on top of that, and
yes.
I believe we're joined by Dia.
Yes, people champion of the night.
Yeah, rough siege there, just the way things fell out. But goodness, you played excellently throughout this whole tournament. So the fading Zot there, where the package ended up being, and that just ended up being the deciding factor there. Is that just a play you normally don't like to do when you've got like something like the Moon available? What was kind of your routing strategy there?
That is just so slow. It's probably my least favorite check on Earth to do, period. So, and I knew that FF4FE would probably take that gamble against me because he usually does. He usually does Horror, he does Zot when he races me. So, and with both objectives being terminating key items, it kind of meant that the odds were in favor of Moon having both key items versus Zot having one of them. The math just didn't pan in my favor this time, but it happens.
Yeah, earlier, Fleury did mention, in fact, that he went for Zot specifically because he knew you wouldn't. He expressed a fear that he could not beat you in a straight race, so had to make the right plays in order to get that edge.
Yeah, and I felt like if it was a straight race this time around, I probably would have had it. I felt I was playing very well in a lot of these cases here. Like, that CPU fight went very well. Just overall, I felt like I was just playing the seat really well, and then just that one rounding decision kind of cost me.
Yeah, that was a very nice CPU fight. Doing the double floats to make sure you could get your Quakes off. I was curious why you didn't bring up Kane and second Paladin before going into that fight.
At that point, I wasn't really paying attention to levels, and I was kind of just like, maybe I keep them down for a slingshot later on, but once I got out of that fight and saw that, I was like, there's no point really doing that.
Right.
I know you favored mage-heavy parties throughout this entire tournament, and tonight was no exception. Were you feeling really kind of confident when the game was offering you so many mages early on? Did that sort of? Because we noticed you did so little looting throughout the entire thing. Was this kind of the sort of party makeup you like to see in a seed?
Yeah, this is one of the best parties you can actually just get in this fact set. Double Paladin is so strong. And then, when it gives you a Stardust Rod and a Term Rod, you just have to take those.
One thing that was unexpected and not a common thing in this stage of the tournament is we had an Edge and good ninja gear. Obviously, we didn't see Edge until both you and Fleury had filled up your parties, but what did you think about that?
Money! When you're not looting, you take that cash.
Most certainly.
Let's see. Vanilla, lots of vanilla. Thoughts on that?
Was that also vanilla? I wasn't really paying attention.
That's fair. I guess you're more concerned about going fast than thinking, oh, that's where that thing shows up normally.
Yeah, there was game offering a lot of Edwards in their regular spots, a lot of Tellas in their original spots, but you got your mages and you were ready to go. So I guess that didn't really register, would it?
No, it's just like, wow, this is a lot of Tella and Eds. It didn't really register where.
Well, yeah. you put on a fantastic show, and you were a fantastic sport throughout. It's unfortunate that we have to say goodbye to you in the tournament here after the showing you've put on. But what are your overall thoughts on your play throughout the tournament? How the tournament's gone, and just your general feelings there? I'd love to hear.
Definitely feeling a lot better about this than Bulgana. Going out in a race like this, it's whatever, it happens. You make one run grind decision, Fleury makes the right one. Can't really stop that from happening, especially against a runner as good as him. But, I felt like overall most of the seeds I played really well. The only time that, I really got bit by the seed was against Inven when that double required Val showed up and I just had mages. But other than that, I thought I played extraordinarily well. I'm pretty sure I had the fastest seed in the group stage.
Yes.
with a 42-minute, just insanely quick one.
Yeah, we were reminiscing with Chad about favorite moments so far the seed, and that 42-minute seed came up quite a few times. That's still ridiculously incredible.
Yes, there is a reason I introduced you as the Speed Demon today.
But yeah, and even just this seed, I felt like doing it this fast, for a 27 out of 28, only skipping Zot. And Darkness was pretty late, and it's still 140 something. That's still really well played for me, I think.
Yes, you've done excellent this tournament. Top 4 is nothing to sneeze at, and you have grown so much in this game since you joined the community, and you've definitely outstripped me by a lot, so.
Well, any final thoughts you want to leave us with, Dia?
Just good luck to Fleury in the finals here. Should be a good match no matter who else goes through there. And thanks to all of you for the restreams, the tracking, and the commentary.
Yes, and thank you for being such a good sport. And I guess the bright side is you get to relax a little next week.
I wish. I'm still stressed out about the selection, but.
Well,
yeah, that is a complicated thing, but hopefully we can have some good runs to distract everybody from that particular mess.
Teach some people in Nevada how to speedrun.
That's seriously?
Thanks so much for joining us, Dia. It's been an absolute pleasure watching you play, and really, really looking forward to you in the next event and community races going forward. So thank you so much.
So yeah, we have our first finalist of Highway to the Threemus Zone, with FF4FE taking it 2-1 in the semifinals. We do not have a date yet for the second and third matches of Pancras versus Dusty Griff, but once we have those, we will send them out as quickly as possible on the Discord, on Twitter, who knows where else. Definitely those two places at the very least.
Yes, certainly. We'll get our other finalist, and then we will get ready for the final best 3 out of 5 series in the Highway to the Threemus Zone, excuse me, and get our grand champion. Very, very excited about that. But for the moment, we got a little bit of more free enterprise to throw your way. We're going to be sending you over to Hupfin, a community member who is doing some free enterprise of her own right now. So definitely show her some love. And if you can just keep the results of the match to yourself, we don't want to spoil anything for anyone who might be catching the VOD later.
That's right. We do have a spoilers discussion channel on our Discord if you want to continue talking about the super hype race, but please maintain that chat maintain your conversations to that channel on the Discord so that people who haven't seen this yet can see it fresh. I want to say thanks to everybody who came out to watch this tonight. I want to say thanks to my co-commentator, the behind-the-scenes people, and especially everybody who put up with my puns.
Hey, it was a pleasure. It was a pleasure dealing with those, Pixel.
So yeah, we're sending you over to Hupfin. Have a great evening, everyone.
Good night, folks.